The TrekWorks YouTube channel is sponsored by HDA ModelWorks, suppliers of scale lighting products, detail accessory parts, and complete model kits. Visit HDAModelWorks.com today.
Well, hello there again, everybody. Boyd here with you, and welcome to the introduction of our next build series here on the channel. This is the 1/25th scale Batwing from the original Batman movie, 1989, Michael Keaton. Great little model kit. This is a kit again that I wish I would have gotten a long time ago after I had a look at it in the box here. It's a really great little kit, nice size and everything. Lots of paneling detail on the top and all this stuff. And we're going to be doing this build up here. Going to mount it on another little Polar Lights base, like I just finished up the Cylon Raider a few days ago, and we're going to do some lighting on it. I don't think I'm going to go all out this time and do sound effects and everything, but we're going to do all the lighting that we've got here. We've got some lights on the front. I'm going to try to light up the little machine guns here at the front with some blinking LEDs or something like that. We've got the little bit of lighting we can do inside the cockpit and try to detail it out like that. Now there's some really nice interesting paneling detail on the top of these wings and on the body and everything that I really think looks cool. I think what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to get some blue. I'm going to do a sort of a flat black or maybe a satin black paint job on this, and then I'm going to do the entire thing with a coat of shimmering iridescent blue on top of that. I think it'll look really cool. And then I'm going to come back and paint in all these little panels here and do some shading just like you see on this, using the airbrush, and really highlight those panels with like a lighter shade of blue or a little bit of light gray or something like that. Just really, really nicely blended in so it looks just like this little detail they've got on here. It looks really sweet. So I'm going to pop the kit out of the box and show you a quick, not really a model kit review on this. There's probably been tons of these done. This kit's been around for a while, but I just want to pop some of these parts out and everything and talk about it a little bit, and talk about some of what the plan is. Now, I was looking at the instructions, and it looks like there's plenty of room in this thing to get all the lighting in it. I didn't know for sure before I opened it up and looked at it if the wings were going to be molded in one solid piece or not. You know, like what I mean by that is an upper and lower half, so that we would have room to put wiring through there. If it was one flat piece, we would have to do some trenching or something, you know, and run a wire there and then have to putty back over that. But the wings are two pieces, so that's really good. It's just thick enough to put wiring through. But here's the cockpit, and you can see that this is going to be a pretty decent sized model when it's done. Just kind of test fit these two parts together. I'll probably just use a little bit of fiber optic inside the cockpit here. I'm not, you know, I don't want to light up the whole thing. I just want a little bit of dim light in there that's for the control switches and stuff like that. And then do up the Batman figure and all that and have them in there. But you can see by the time this is put together, this is going to be a pretty big model, actually. And so we don't have to worry at all about any kind of room. We won't have a lot of light leaks. I'll just probably put one LED in there and just run a bunch of fiber strands off of that. And whatever different colors I want, I'll just paint that with my Tamiya transparent paint. That always works really good. Pop the wings out here for you really quick. And get a look at that. These are nice size. What I really always liked about this vehicle is that scene when he does the roll or whatever and comes up and highlights it against the moon, and it looks just like the shape of the bat. That's just really cool. And but you can see these are just thick enough. They're not very thick, but they're just thick enough to. This is where that little forward kind of headlight is here. They're just thick enough to get an LED in there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use one of those lighthouse LEDs that I used in my Katinga. Those are super, super bright, and they concentrate light in a nice little spotlight, because these are not supposed to be like marker lights. These are supposed to be like forward-facing, you know, floodlights, so he can see. So they need to be really, really bright. So I'm going to, you know, I think looking at the profile of it here from the front, I think it's just thick enough where I can shave a little bit of that away and get that little LED laying in there, you know, horizontally. and it'll fit in there just right and fit inside that lens, and that'll really put out a lot of light and look really cool. So I'll have to look and see if there's any other external lighting on it. Got to go back and look at the movie and see if there's any little marker lights or anything like that. But the lighting shouldn't be too complicated on this one. But here's the other wing part. Now you can see it has all these little nice little rivet details on here in these individual panels. So I'll be able to use those as a guide, do my masking. I'll paint the overall thing like a satin black or maybe even a flat black. Then I'm going to dust some really cool iridescent blue over the top of it. That'll give it a really kind of a neat shimmering look. And then I'm just going to come back and highlight all these little panels here. And that's going to look really, really cool. So I did the Batmobile, the 89 Batmobile, and I did it with some of that shimmering. I highlighted some of the high spots and stuff on it with some of that shimmering blue. And I got an award for it at the model show. They really liked how that looked. Here's the base, basic base here. With the Batman logo. Now what I might try and do for this one, something I've been trying to, I wanted to experiment with for a while. My good friend Chris Cortell over at Classic Plastic, when he lights his models, he often uses one of those little, coin type batteries. It's really, low profile, and you got the little holder that it sits in. I think there might be just enough room underneath of this base to make one of those work, or maybe even two of them. And because I'm not going to have this model on all the time and stuff like that, and I might just set up a little tiny switch and set it up where it'll run on battery power, because there's going to be minimal lighting in this. I might only have 3 LEDs in the whole thing, the 2 forward lights in the wings, and then 1 inside the cockpit. I'll have to see if I can get the guns lit or not. I'm going to try to. It all depends on, let's have a look at those. But this has got a nice Batman symbol on it, so I might paint that, but if worse comes to worse, if I decide not to do that, I can always put this on top of another base, another smaller little thing that's a little deeper, and I can put like a 9-volt battery in there or whatever I want, and this can sit on top, and it'll look, still look really cool. Maybe I could even raise it a little bit and put something lit around the perimeter of it. I've done something like that before. That might look really neat. Little yellow lit around it, the edge of it or something. That would look cool. Let me find the guns here, and then I'll be able to get an idea. I've drilled through some really, really small guns and made it work. You got to use a pin vise and a micro drill bit, just enough to get some fiber optics in there, or maybe even an SMD, and you can feed the wires through there as long as it doesn't have a resistor on it. I think these are the guns right here. Let me take a look. Yeah, these are the machine guns right here, I believe. It sure looks like it. Okay, so I would say they're thick enough that I can drill through these. Now, the problem you run into, though, is it depends on how long it is, right? So most of my micro drill bits are probably only 3/4 of an inch long, or maybe an inch. And it might be just beyond what the length is here. So you're going to have problems, you won't be able to drill all the way through it. If it's been super long, what I've done is I've actually chopped them in half, and then I've drilled through them that way, and then actually stuck the fiber optic in there and then glued it back together, and then just fixed the seam where I had cut it, like fixed the with a little bit of putty or whatever. And that was able to, I was able to make it work like that. Look, this looks like it's part of the guns too, though. I'll have to see. Yeah, that's some kind of Gatling gun. That might be in the center or on the bottom or something. But these 2 guns right here, I think, are the main guns he uses in the movie. I'll have to go back and look. But these, I can tell you, I'll be able to drill through those. I've drilled through thinner than that. You just have to be really careful and make sure you're perfectly centered and stay level when you drill it through, and just do it by hand, and you can get it done. What I'll do in this case, they're not super long. I'll drill, I'll drill all the way in as far as I can on one side, and then I'll drill again on the other side and meet in the middle, and it'll open the whole thing up. If I can get it opened up, I can get fiber optic in there, and then I can definitely get it lit. So that would look really cool. Here's the Batman figure. He's a nice size. Looks like, decent detail on his face and everything. I think they give you a decal for his Batman logo. He'll be really easy to paint because he's mostly all black, and a little bit of detail on the belt. Looks pretty good. A little bit of cockpit detail. There is a little bit of detail on the, I guess the dashboard here of the cockpit, but it's not much. It's just a couple little gauges, and it's nothing really fancy at all. In fact, you can barely even see it there. It's not really nice. It's just barely scribed on there. But I'll probably put a couple of little pieces of fiber optic in there, different colors, look like, you know, little indicator lights and stuff. And have a little bit, that way it'll give a little bit of glow going onto Batman's face, you know, just kind of indicate that. And that'll be just right. Detail on the seat here is pretty good. I think they were more focused on the outside of the model, the inside. This is the newest release of this kit, which comes with this really neat Gotham City backdrop. Might wind up incorporating this somehow. I did that on the original '89 Batmobile that I did. It came with that too. And at that time I had a idea. I actually built the emitter that will cast a bat signal up on here. You know, it's a little... I actually built one, and then I found one at a store that was even better. It's just the emitter itself. It's just a little miniature flashlight. But what I was planning on doing was building some kind of a little, you know, case for it to sit in that made it look more like the actual bat signal. But we'll see. But I'd really like to project the bat signal up onto the back of this while the plane's in the air and everything. That would be really cool. We'll see if I do that or not, but I may use this. It's really nice that they give it to you anyway. And here's, it has a 4-drop too, the water underneath of it. So yeah, that's going to take up a lot of room. Don't know if we'll be using that or not, but we'll see. So anyways, you guys, it's really cool. Nice little kit. Another day or two I'm going to get started on it, and you'll start seeing the video updates. Somewhere along the line, and it might interrupt this. I might interrupt it and start on that at the same time. We'll see, but I've got the new Discovery Enterprise, the 1/1000 scale kit on the way. I was under the understanding that everything was available for that kit, but apparently the model and the lighting kit are available, and the Aztec decals are going to be available later. So no problem. I plan on go ahead and building the model anyway, because I always do decals at the last anyway. So we'll build the model and get all the lighting. I plan on doing a really nice lighting job on that. That's got some really interesting lighting that you're going to have to do, a little combination of you know, regular lighting, and then do a little bit of Raytheon lighting to get some of the floodlight looks that it has on it. But I plan on doing all that. I want to do a nice job on it. I actually really like the design. I think it's one of the best designs that they came up with for more recent starships, you know, from all the new series that are out there. I really like it. I think it looks a little bit like the NX-01. It fits in with what's already out there and everything. And it's just really cool. And I really like the interior of the bridge when they showed it on the show. Gotta say, I'm not really a big fan of Discovery itself, but the parts where they had the original Enterprise in there, when they showed the bridge, I thought that was actually one of the best bridges that they've done in a long time too. It really had a nice updated look, but it gave you a lot of the elements of the original TOS with the red coloring, you know, on the paneling and some of that stuff, and I just loved it. So if they do Strange New Worlds, I hope they have that ship with that interior. That'd be great. I'm all excited about that series. The cast that they have for, you know, playing Pike and Number One and everything, they were perfect. So looking forward to it. So you'll see that model too coming up really soon, guys. I'm excited about it. I'm glad we're getting some new Trek kits. I actually took a look at the smaller 2500 scale, but I'm just not fired up to build something that small. I know a lot of people build those models because they don't have a lot of room, and that's great. But I just, you know, they're not quite big enough where you can do everything that you want. You know, you can put some lighting in there, but you can't do it all. Now this model here is going to have the motorized Bassards and everything. I'm not gonna use the round 2 kit. I'm going to use my own motors and stuff. But we'll see how that works out. It should be pretty fun. We'll see you for that one, guys, and we'll see you for the next update on this one in a couple days. Take care and happy modeling, everyone.